Thank you all for joining in today. Today is our 59th episode of free Intune training, and this is provided by How to Manage Devices community. And this is the last episode for this season, that is season one of free Intune training. I'm sure we will restart or start again the season, or season two will start soon, right? Will keep you all updated about those dates basically. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank you all for the tremendous support you provide, right? All along all these 59 days, right? We've been together for um 30 minutes or more than that sometimes, right? It was a great journey, for me at least. I don't know about you. uh, Most of you, I don't know how many of you started joining this session from episode 1, but I think there are a couple of people who are there from episode 1 until now, right? So you know who you are. Thank you very much, and thank you, Jitesh, for supporting this. And it is tremendous support you provided, Jitesh. Thank you very much for that, and really appreciate that. Right. So you are communicating with the community, entire community, and all the notifications you provide to them, and all the reminders. Thank you very much. Okay, so today what I'm planning to do is, basically I'm planning to rewind something and revisit the some of the episodes, right? And probably we will give I will be able to give you an overview, right? So let's get started. Okay, so this was the day one, right? Day one we started trial version, took trial version of Intune, and created users, assigned license, right? And took EMS licenses. Okay, and day two, we tried to set up MDM authority. It was already set. MDM auto enrollment configuration we have checked. A license assignment we have checked, right? Azure AD integration with Intune, how to do that, and we talked about AirWatch, integrating AirWatch with Intune, etc., etc. Right? Sorry, not with Intune. With Azure Active Directory, right? Day three, you can see like we have seen Azure AD registration, right? And we have discussed about the different scenarios between Azure AD join, Azure AD registration, hybrid Azure AD. Then we had an Intune portal walkthrough. Then we talked about Intune updates, right? Monthly updates, weekly updates, Intune case studies, and device notes, and all those stuffs we have seen, right, on day three. So there are like, if I go by each day, right, I have a little note of each day, right, what has exactly happened on that day. So Intune clean, we talked about Intune cleanup roles and real world scenario of migration from domain join to Azure AD join. We discussed about this, right? Somebody was asking about the question, right? Why do What is the real world scenario of migrating from domain join to Azure AD join, etc. Right? Okay, Azure AD registration demo, and we have gone through Azure AD registration demo and Azure AD join demo, right? Of Windows 10 devices. Then we started doing all the application deployment scenarios, etc. Right? How to sync with Windows Store for Business and Intune, right? So those things we have covered in day 10. And as you can see, day 11, we started doing LOB applications and exclusion logic, exclusion options, etc. we gone through the theoretical part of it, right? And then we had some demos and working sessions, right? Okay, so cache folders, we talked about cache folders, location of different cache folders, right? Win32 or Intune Win application cache folder and MDM cache folder, right? All those things we have discussed in day 14, 15 and all, right? And then we started looking into Intune Win32 application, right? Dependencies, detection rules, etc., etc. And we learned that Azure AD registered devices are not getting Win32 applications, right? So that is not supported scenario, right? Only Azure AD joined devices can get Intune Win32 or Intune Win packages, right? So we saw that, and then we talked about F12 option. I don't know how many of you remember that in the portal. We talked about F12 option, and we talked about what a sidecar agent, etc., etc. Right? When then we have seen the PowerShell deployment strategies, rerun option of PowerShell or scheduling option of PowerShell scripts. Is that available or not? Right? We discussed about that on day 19, and day 20 and 21, 22, we started talking about updates, right? Windows 10 updates, a ring strategy, Windows 10 monthly updates, and a kind of Windows feature updates, and monthly patch updates, right? So we talked about that. Then we started looking into the registry keys, right? The registry keys for Windows Update for Business, right? We started looking into the um, event logs, and we started the real time troubleshooting kind of sessions, right? From these days, right? Okay, so a lot of things going on. I'm not going to cover all these things, right? Then we talked about OMA URI, and how to build a OMA URI, and what is the difference between device, what is the difference between user, right? So those kind of things we have discussed, right? And password policies, Intune password policies, we discussed about all the different policies we discussed about, right? And um, ADMX files, how to import ADMX files for Google Chrome, all those things we have already kind of discussed, right? And we discussed about Chrome, Firefox, and Microsoft Edge also, right? Chromium based Edge also, right? So we spend a lot of time troubleshooting all these things, right? Like event logs, going through event logs, going through registry entries, right? So this was an awesome experience, at least for me, learning experience for me also, right? Okay, so probably I think it might help you in some day when you kind of get into some issues or troubleshooting, when you try to get some help on troubleshooting, right? Probably these videos recordings might help you. Okay, so maybe it will help me after probably 1 year or 2 years. I normally I forget everything what I did, like sometimes some days before, right? So it is useful for me to refer back as well. Okay, so those are the things. Then security baselines. We talked about security baselines, right? The Windows 10 security baselines, and we talked about UK Cyber Security Center, right? Windows 10 CSP ADMX policies and their details, right? Their blog posts we talked about, right? We discussed about that. Right, then administrative templates we discussed about, and how to implement that, and what are the search options available, how it is similar to group policy management, right? On-prem group policy management, etc. Right. Then again, we talked about Edge, Chromium, the default browser, why it is not getting deployed to Azure AD registered devices and all. Okay, because it uses Win32 Intune Win32 application model, and that doesn't support Azure AD registered devices. That is why it is not showing up in Edge deployment was showing up in Azure AD registered devices in our demos, right? So we talked about that, and lot of other stuffs, restriction policies and all the fun stuff we talked about a lot, right? I and WIP policies were very interesting. VIP policies, Windows Information Protection policies, and we lost the remote control of the mission VM which we are which we were testing, and we lost the entire access to the mission because of some probably stupid configuration from my side, right? So those are all kind of lesson learned. Probably you can avoid those kind of scenarios in your production environment, right? Okay, so network boundaries, we talked about network boundaries of Windows Information Protection, and we went through the um, registry entries and all, right? And so a lot of things. I'm not going to cover everything over here, right? So let's go back to our demo environment, and let me try to show something which, let's continue what we have seen yesterday, right? Mm, okay, so this is the demo environment, and yesterday we were talking about RBAC. Okay, RBAC, Intune, and last week, like this entire week, we were talking about RBAC, and probably last week also, right? So, uh, RBAC is pretty important, as you know, and let's give you update on RBAC. This is the RBAC which we are talking about, right? Scope tags, scope groups, and I hope you are clear on that. Then yesterday we have provided additional access to delete additional permission to delete device object for help desk admin, right? And where we stopped was we provided access to a new user, right? And that is Bristol admin, right? So let's log into that user and check whether it got access or not, right? Let's close this. Let's close this and open the portal private one, and endpoint.microsoft.com. Okay, so the other portal is going to I don't know, retire. Microsoft is going to retire that portal soon, portal.azure.com. If you are still using portal.azure.com, it might not work after August. I don't remember the exact date, August 20th or something. So you need to start using this particular portal, endpoint.microsoft.com. I'm trying to speak and type together. Probably that is not going to work very well for me. Let's see. Okay. So this is the new user which we created yesterday, and we were having we didn't try to log in yet, so this is the first time we were trying to log in, right? And normally after assigning the user with proper permissions, it is going to take another 5-10 minutes to get the access um, on the for that particular user, right? So that was one of the learning which we had. So this is only for the CYO devices, company owned devices. So this, or ideally this user should have only CYO devices. So as you can see, only corporate devices are available for this user. Okay, so that's cool, right? It is working. Now, if I go to Windows and if I say configuration policies, only the Chrome policy that is available, because the scope tag of that policy is Bristol, right? That is why it shows this one configuration. I'm sorry, it shows over here. And complaints policy, there won't be anything because the scope tag was something, I think, help desk, right? That is why it was not able to uh, it is not able to see, like this particular user admin is not able to see, not admin, Bristol user is not able to see that. And even if I go to applications, right, if I open up applications, I'm able to see only one application, right, that is assigned to the scope tag Excel, right. Right, so this is the scope tag. Okay, now let's check what we can do in terms of troubleshooting, right? So today's main point is troubleshooting. Let's check. We have seen many kind of troubleshooting scenarios in the previous videos or previous sessions. In terms of from a client perspective, right? You can go to client settings, right? Client settings, and you can go to accounts, right? And you can go to, come on, what happened to that, right? Okay, that's interesting. Let me log into this mission. This is Azure AD join device, right? And let me go to email, sorry, accounts, right? And over here, if I go over here and if I go to info, you would be able to see all the details, policies applied, etc., etc., right? Then you can create a report, right? You can create a report. We have seen this is first of the troubleshooting scenario, right? And the second thing is your friend is event logs, right? Event viewer, if I can type that correctly. Then the third friend is registry, right? Registry, reg edit, I don't know. Reg edit, right? So these are the things we have already kind of seen, right? All these are explained in the previous videos, right? So these are the second or third type of troubleshooting, right? Because we might not have access to end users machines directly, right? So these are the second or third options to troubleshoot further, right, if you see some of the issues, right? But the first troubleshootings should be always on Intune portal. So you should start the troubleshooting from Intune portal, right? So that is why we have a node over here, troubleshooting plus support. Okay, so if I go over here, help and support, right? Probably you might be able to select, raise an option, sorry, you might be able to get an option to um, so over here I don't see that because I don't have an access, right? That is Bristol user, right? Otherwise you should get an access to raise a support case if you have a premier contract with Microsoft, or I don't know what that contract is called now. Probably it might be changed now. Okay, but from a troubleshooting perspective, first level you need to go to troubleshooting plus support, and then troubleshoot. And then I've been hearing this, like if we might have an option to select a device here, it would be great from a device management perspective, right? Rather than user, or you might have to, like, it would be great if we can have both the options, select user and select devices. At the moment I don't think we have option to select devices, right? So if I say select users, right, and if I say like admin, right, admin, and if I say select, then normally it should show up all the devices assigned to me. But over here, right, I have 6 devices, but over here it shows only 3 because it is Bristol, right? It is I we logged in with Bristol. So this particular user or admin, right, Bristol admin, has only access to corporate devices, right? That is why it shows only the corporate devices in the list. Now let's go to the troubleshooting, and it is very useful, right? Client applications deployed will show up here, right? And you would be able to select filter option is there. Compliance policies, if you want to check compliance policies, if you want to check configuration policies, you can check over there, right? And same thing with WIP policies. Windows application protection policies from a Windows perspective is WIP, Windows Information Protection Policies, right? So all these things you can see over here, and you can see like, oh, whether there is any problem with the compliancy or not, right? Whether the user is active or not, the app install is there, Windows OS version you can see, right? And last check-in version for all the devices you can see, right? And you would be able to see the app protection status, etc., right? And this is also very interesting, right? Enrollment failures you can see, and this is pretty useful. Okay, so device version is too low. We have seen this, we have tried this, you might be able to remember this, right? We have played around with enrollment restrictions, right? Okay, so now further troubleshooting can be done by clicking on, if you see, for example, there's a problem with Intune 03 device, then I click on that device, that will give you a different perspective, right? So over here, this is monitoring is very important over here. Over here, in the monitoring, you would be able to see the serial details, right? Hardware details of that, right? Device ID, serial number, right? And all the Windows version, how many, what is the size, etc., etc., right? Total storage space, right? Etc., etc., you would be able to see. Okay, manufacturer, window, virtual device or physical device, which I don't know, owner of the device, vendor of the device, etc., etc., right? And the discovered applications are corporate devices will show all the applications, right? All the applications. If you are if you did a Azure AD join scenario, right? If you are Windows 10 devices Azure AD join, then it will show up all the all the applications installed on that Windows 10 device. Okay, that at least that is what my understanding is, and you can see the complaints policies over here. So we are continuing the troubleshooting. So first of all, if you want to check whether any application got discovered or installed on the device, then you can search this, right? This scenario, you can search like, okay, paint is there or not? Probably paint is there. Okay, so this is kind of thing similar to resource explorer in SCCM world, right? And if you go to device configuration is pretty useful, right? And within device configuration, you would be able to see which policy is failed and why it is failed, right? If I click on, for example, this one, you would be able to see, okay, administrative templates failed to configure. If I click on that, you would be able to see, okay, what is the error code, then probably we can try to start troubleshooting. If you don't get any clue after seeing this, probably you might need to get into event logs of the client mission and check it. Okay, so that is device configuration, and device configuration, you can see over here app configuration. We have not configured anything for apps actually, right? Endpoint security information, endpoint security configuration, if you have any endpoint security related policies, right? All these are under each devices, right? This is particularly for Intune 03. So lot of information you can see over here. So normally when a user complains that the application is not getting deployed, then I normally go to manage application. So this is the application deployment happening from Intune. Okay, so this is all the application installed on the device, that is discovered application. Managed application is the applications which we installed from Intune. Okay, so for example PowerPoint mobile we installed, right? English language pack we installed, that company portal we installed, right? And CM trace, we copied the CM trace to our Windows 10 devices to look into Win32 log files, right? Okay, so that is the only log file. Intune Win32 or Sidecar agent has a log file similar to SCCM, but none of the other components in MDM world doesn't have any log file, right? All our troubleshooting should be done through event logs or registry entries and Intune console, right? Okay, so that is manage applications, and device configurations are mostly helpful in many scenarios. In my real world experience, right, it helped a lot to understand what is the issue and where to fix it, etc., etc., right? So first thing is device configuration, second is manage apps, right? And user experience, probably you would be able to see like more details when you configure all those things, right? Recovery, this is about the BitLocker policies and all, right? I don't have access with this particular user. So all these we are testing, troubleshooting, doing it from, not from admin user, right? Full admin user, this is from a Bristol admin. So this is a help desk kind of a user, right? It has only help desk kind of a scenario or permissions, right? Okay, so I think we are almost there for today. So I want to open up for the questions now. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Anup sir, please share the list of activities which you listed before you showed the initial of this
Yeah,
session, right?
yeah, sure thing. I think it's already there in the description of each videos, right? So
Okay.
if you check the description of each videos, right, all these details, right, which I have shown is available there.
Okay. And thanks for sharing the knowledge. It's not easy to carry almost 60 days. Thanks
No
a
worries.
lot for your
Thank
support.
you, thank you very much for all your support, right? Yeah, it is my pleasure, right? I learned a lot along with you all.
Yeah, thank you, Anuj, sir. This is really, wonderful job you are doing continuously for the 30 episodes. Even though I was not able to, uh, uh, continuously concentrate on this trainings because the working hours also start at the same time. But even though you really did a wonderful job for the community.
Thank you very much for all the support, and yeah, probably we'll start season 2 soon. And we can learn together a lot of stuff to later, right? Probably. Okay, so if you don't have any other questions, thank you very much, and keep in touch and take care, and see you
So
later.
when are you coming back? When are you coming back, sir,
Coming back to
to Bangalore?
Coming Bangalore, I have no clue because after Corona, probably next year, I
Oh.
don't know. But I'm coming back to India tomorrow, so I'll be reaching there on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be going to Cochin.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be there in home quarantine or institutional quarantine. I don't know. Probably for I don't know 14 days or 28 days. Rules are different for different states, right? So
Mm.
we will see that. So all are like not sure about that. Like what is going to happen, right? Okay.
Okay.
So thank you all. Thank you again. See you later. Bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, Anup, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anu.